Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Romi with The Real Romi, back with Ricky Hodge.
Hello, Ricky Hodge.
Ricky and I did a video a few weeks ago and it was just so well received and everybody was responding and loved it and was inspired by it. So we decided to do a few more because I feel like there was so much more we could talk about.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like
always.
Always. There was just so much more. And so Ricky and I really kind of just got our brains thinking and connected after that interview. And so the last one, which you can watch on this page, was really about work.
Yeah.
Value. We had
Value.
a bunch of people inspired about like upping their prices, knowing their worth, right? Like that's been a big message of yours.
Yeah, it's always been a message because I think in my profession as hairstylist, there's like a couple of different kinds of hairstylists, but there are a bunch of hairstylists that need to know their value and their worth and what they tend to do. Like I just had someone the other day message me and said, you know, he's afraid to raise his prices because he said that he's afraid that he would be losing out on tips. And I told him that, you know, our tipping culture is so crazy anyways, but the way I look at it, and I've always looked at it this way, is if they're coming back, that's the tip.
Yes.
And if you're worried about the tip, then add 20%, raise your prices, knowing that the tip is already added. So mentally, you already think that you're getting a tip. So the tip should always be an extra bonus, but it should never be expected. And so I think a lot of times in our tipping culture, we kind of freak out about the tipping situation. And, you know, I've always just thought, you know, if they're coming back, that's the big picture is that there's all that money that's coming back. Now, I charge a lot of money now. And whenever I start to delete like some of my clients, listen, I'm definitely going to look at the people that tip me the best.
Yes.
And those are the ones that will be with me.
Yes.
And the ones that just pay me what they pay me, it's totally fine. But whenever you get to the point to where you can actually dictate and choose your clientele, why wouldn't you choose the people that are the best tippers? But between now and until you get to that level, the expectation should just be that they're booking to come and see you again.
So this message, like this, like kind of like reminding people, right, of this, I think people forget this. And so it's like the holidays, it is a new year coming up. Everyone's getting ready for their new year. And it is a time when people up their prices.
Yes. And quite honestly, with the current administration and the struggles that we all go through, regardless if you're conservative or not, it doesn't really matter.
You're alive in this world right now. We're
definitely going to be going through it.
Yes.
But you have to know your worth. So like if I charge $300 for a haircut, I think I'm worth it, but I don't know if everybody else is going to think that, you know. I think I have clients that pay me that now, but I travel to them and I do that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, is that a consistency? No, it's not in my books.
Right.
I'm in a city that could probably support it, but I'm not in LA or New York that could totally support it. $200 for a haircut, yes, I could raise my prices to that. But quite honestly, at $175, I'm so comfortable with it. I get to work, like yesterday, I did 7 haircuts. So you just add that up by yourself. And so like,
you just do the math.
Yeah, so like at the end of the day.
It was a good day, Ricky.
You know, it was a good day.
That's a whole damn week for people.
Yeah, and so like at the end of the day, I just, you know, that's why I'm able to work the 3 days. But, you know, there's 15 years behind that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think I read this thing about Picasso where this lady had come up to him and wanted him to do a quick little sketch. And he did it in like a minute. And she goes, well, why do you charge so much for it when you can just do it in a minute? He's all like, it's all the experience and all the things that I've done to get to that
1 minute.
Because I can do a haircut. I actually had this conversation yesterday. I can do a haircut in 30 minutes, but I charge
like an hour.
75 minutes.
Okay.
Because it's not about the haircut.
Well, it's
also about the community that you build that support you.
I'm so glad you brought that up. And then I want to transition, but like I do makeup, right? As a makeup artist, and I'm very quick.
Yeah.
I've done it for a long time. I'm very quick.
Yes.
So when I do all these weddings and they book me in allotted time. I get to the job. I'm not paid for a day rate. I'm paid for, you know, each person. I finally spoke up for myself and I said, I'm not here being paid for the day rate. You're paying me per application. I don't need an hour.
Yeah.
I need 30 minutes
Yeah.
and I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's like, but are you giving it as much time? I said, I'm giving it. This is me after 20 years of doing work.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 30-minute time for me. It's the same price as the hour that you're charging or paying the other artist, right? Like, I know I'm going to deliver.
Yeah.
And what eventually happened with me standing up for myself as well is my person who books me was like, oh, I can double book you multiple weddings because you can actually take a lot more people.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can do that many people in a day, right? Like, you can do 7 people in a day because of the time you've put into it.
Yeah.
So like this reminder of your worth, your value, this is the kind of stuff that like all of us are feeling like we need right now in the country that we're living in. Like he said, I don't care where you stand.
Yeah.
Shit's expensive, you guys.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Politically where you are, it's expensive. So what is your worth? What is your value? How are you making sure your business?
But know your worth.
Yes.
Just don't throw a number out there.
No.
Because there's some stylists that I've seen, they're like, well, I'm going to raise my prices because he raised his prices. I'm all like, but you're not ready.
Even there. You're not even there.
You're not there. But your clients will dictate that because they're going to be all like, she's not worth it. And I'm going to find somebody else. And that's totally fine. But just know that,
you'll know.
You'll know.
Yeah. I want to move into a new area of identity because we've talked a lot about work and identifying our value.
Yeah.
I think it is pretty safe to say that you and I also have a big sexual identity in terms of who we are, stepping into who we are. And I want to just recognize this because it is an area in our country where people are needing to feel also comfortable and accepted for who they are. So when people see somebody as big as you, right, and doing all these big things and the way you present yourself, in the world, you also, like, how do you identify?
Yeah. Well, I am gay, but, I've always been gay as long as I've known from like 5 years old. But, I grew up in the 80s, and I grew up in a town of 6,000 people. And we didn't know what gay was. I didn't even know what racism was because, the town is 6,000 people in Texas. It's very white, a few Hispanics, and then like me. So I kind of got into I wasn't known as Spanish because I had told everybody I was born in Hawaii. And
Were you born in Hawaii? Okay. Yeah.
Because of that, I was Hawaiian.
Okay.
So
you claimed that identity.
Yeah. So I claimed that. But, I didn't realize what racism was until I moved to Hawaii, and it was like reverse racism there because I was now a majority and not a minority. And it was really interesting. But I remember always looking at guys in a different capacity at a young age. At a very young age. And then, but because society was so, well, one, I didn't know what it was. And then 2, because society wasn't really accepted, there was nobody in the town I grew up in Lampasas that was gay that I knew of. And so I hid it because I didn't know what it was.
So when you were feeling it, because mine's very different than yours. And so I was raised by 2 moms. And so I was presented to it at a very young age where it was
accepted.
An option.
Yeah.
It was actually like, you can love whoever you want.
Yeah.
You're the young girl. This is an option.
And that should be how it is all the time. It's just not.
So for you, how did you, when you started to know at a young age that you were looking at men or boys like this, right? How did you start to recognize it? How did that play a role with like your childhood?
Well, I was deeply closeted.
Okay.
My family is pretty conservative. I'm literally I'm the only one in my family that's not conservative. I do have conservative values.
Same.
But I don't lean that way.
Same.
Because for me, I'm a gay male. I am ethnic. There's a lot of negativity and racism out there. And so that's against me.
Yes.
And so I try to surround myself with very positive people. People that aren't positive, I can associate with them. I just don't hang out with them.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of always lived that way, but I'm also a really good loner. You know? I love being alone.
Okay, I want to just like, this is why I love us, because so am I.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't know that about me.
Me either.
That is like, Jenny knows that about me.
Yeah.
I come off, because you and I can be very extroverted and very social, but like,
but people are attracted to us.
But I am very much okay on my own.
Yeah, I get off work, I go straight home, and I am there. If I leave, if I leave my house, it's special.
Yes,
but most of the time it's not.
Same, very similar. So in terms of being this younger boy with this like kind of minority, which I was as well, I grew up in a very white, rich area, and I am Mexican.
Yeah.
I did not look like everybody else. I did not look like my mom, right? I used to try and wipe the brown off my skin as a little girl.
These are things that is common in all of us.
Like I tried to,
or any of us that are of color.
I didn't look like everybody, you know? So I remember growing up not knowing how to really step into my ethnicity.
Yeah.
And then also as like a little girl, knowing that I was exploring like liking women as a child, knowing that I had two moms. One of my moms looked like a man. My mom was feminine. It was the masculine and feminine role, right? I grew up with that. And this was during the 90s. Yeah. Okay. Prop 8, that whole time, right? In LA. And I remember starting to like look at girls. And I don't know if for me it was because of my environment. Like for you, it was innate.
Yes.
You felt it as a little boy that this was your attraction.
I knew it from the very beginning. Now, I dated girls.
Yeah.
All the way till I was 30 and never had a gay
Till you were 30.
Till never had an experience.
Ricky!
And my last girlfriend, this is so funny. Her last name was Dyke.
No.
If God was not telling me anything.
Was she a lesbian?
No, she wasn't.
Okay.
She ended up marrying the guy right after me and ended up
That's a really long time to not come out. I did not know that about you.
My first gay experience was whenever I was 30 years old.
30 years old. It took you 30 years to finally
act on it. Yeah.
So for so many right now, this is why I'm so glad we're talking about this, and thank you.
30 to myself and my friends, because I had moved from Hawaii back to Texas. So I was trying to come out as bi. I didn't come out to my family till I was 40.
You came out as bi early?
Yeah, but I wasn't
bi.
You weren't bi. I was just saying that because that's like the avenue into acceptance.
It's a gateway.
Yeah.
It's a gateway, right? So I was saying bi because I had been with women, right? I was on the television show with women. That was how I was put into the world. And I've talked about my identity. I feel like a lot of mine was shaped for me. And because that was how I was accepted, that's what I identified as without actually giving myself a raw, honest opportunity to explore it. And then I explored it as bisexual. Then I explored it and landed through, for me, I'm gonna bring up a really conflicting issue. Okay. I have gone through a ton of therapy recently where I feel a lot of my sexual identity, and this is where I'm going to get totally hated for. Yeah. Was around my father issues, being raised by two women, the absence of my father, the absence of a male figure, and being really hurt by men. I found a safe space with women. I
don't know how that, like for me, I didn't grow up with my father, but I don't think for me it was a father absent issue.
Yeah, no, at all. This is what I want to say. And I think people get upset about this. Some of us are born innately gay,
I
right?
was definitely born gay.
Gay. This had nothing to do with environment, father, anything.
I had a father that raised me. Yeah. But all through when I was young till I graduated high school, he was a functioning alcoholic. We had a decent life, but I've always known.
That's okay. And that's what I want to say. And then I think there are people, and this is where I've been hated for,
that choose.
That it becomes part of life because of circumstances.
Well,
for me.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I mean, like my sister will ask me a question about like trans, and she'll say, what do you like? She'll ask me about that. And I'm all like, listen, at the end of the day, I don't understand it, but it's not for me to understand. Same. Because when I was coming out, people didn't understand that.
Yes.
And so I can't put judgment on somebody that chooses to go that direction. It's not my decision.
Yes.
It's about support, and that's what I do. But like at the end of the day, I just don't understand why people don't understand that we're just human.
Right. And that's my thing is that
it's not about sexuality. Americans make it about sex, and we're the ones that are the most prude in the whole world. Like, it's so crazy.
So I think what you said is the biggest thing for me, and that's what I was trying to say, is I've been more open about my journey with my sexuality and my journey of healing, because I believe some of us are totally born innately gay. That's who we are. My stepmother, gay.
Yeah.
Like you, since she was a little girl, shooting guns, identifying as this. That was her. I grew up watching this be her. For me, it was something that was more environmental, accepted, more me dealing with things. The TV show had a huge impact in how I identified.
I just think that a lot of times in our culture, American culture, it's because religion is such a thing that's in our face all the time, especially now because they're throwing the Bibles in the school.
They're using it,
They're using it, and we are a melting pot in America, and there's so many different cultures and religions. And, religion to me could just be a different dialect of language, and it could be the same God, who knows, whatever that is. But like at the end of the day, I just remember one time I met this girl at the gay bar, and it was on a Sunday, and it was Sunday Fun Day, and I had gone to the bar, and I was sitting ordering a drink, and this lady was standing next to me, and I don't typically talk to people at the bar. It's just who I am. And so, but I said to her, she was a lesbian, and I said, "Oh, are you from here?" And she said, "No." She goes, "Actually, we just moved back to Texas. I'm actually from a town an hour north, and so am I." And I said, "Oh my God, what town?" And she said, "Lampasas." I said, "Oh my God, I'm from Lampasas." I said, "What's your last name?" Because, that's how we all
know each other.
And she told me the last name. And I said, "Oh my God, my best friend growing up was Marianne, and with the last name." And she picks up her drinks and she goes, "Follow me." And we go out to the dance floor, and Marianne is dancing. And Marianne says to me, and this is like, I'm probably already 40-something years old.
Yeah.
Now, Marianne goes, "Oh my God, Ricky, what are you doing here? Are you gay?" And I said, "Oh my God, are you gay?"
Yeah.
I had no idea. She goes, "No, this is my sister." Okay, let me just tell you this. This is what's so crazy about like our culture and about being gay. This is why a lot of people are so closeted. This is one of the reasons I was. She had told me, like, the lady comes in to get a haircut, and I hear the story. Now, mind you, Marianne and I were best friends from like 6th or 7th grade. Her mother would pick us up on Friday, and I would go to Marianne's house out in the country and spend the weekend with her. Never once did I know she had a sister. I only knew she had one brother, Jimmy. And so I remember I loved her mother, Margie. I never really talked to her dad. He was just this rancher guy. And so she'd always say, he's like, he probably won't say anything, and he never did.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening is when I was cutting, we'll say the lady's name is Tanya.
Okay.
When I was cutting Tanya's hair, I said, "I had no idea Marianne had a sister." She goes, "Let me tell you the story." She goes, I'm the oldest. I graduated. And my first year in college, I came back home. Now, during the holidays is when a lot of people come out to their family.
Yeah.
Because they go off to school, they realize that they're gay, and they realize who they are. They come back, they have earrings and they have painted whatever, like, and the parents are like, they're like, "Oh my God, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And, they're like, they're free. They're free because they're not being
home. Yeah.
And so Tanya says, I had come home for the holidays, and I told my family that I was gay. And her father got up, walked to the front door, opened the door, and told her she was never to come back home. Ever. So that whole time that I've known Marianne, from 6th grade till I was in my mid-40s.
Wow.
I had no idea that she had a sister. And I had been to her house. I had seen pictures, never saw a picture of Tanya because I didn't know who she was.
Yeah.
years later, like the reason I met Tanya at the bar is because the father was having a fucking affair for years and had a whole nother family.
No.
So the contradiction of like all of that stuff, and in a town that people knew what was going on.
He had a full other.
Yes, and so Margie found out. Marianne told Margie, you got to divorce him, take everything. And so she did, and then Marianne said, now you got to make amends with Tanya.
Yeah.
And so that's how Tanya got back to Austin, or to
Lampasas.
I was like, oh
I mean,
my God.
these,
and we're the ones that are the most hated.
Well, that's the funny part, is that the ones that are like right now, if we're going to get political, and I have to share my coming out story because you're going to die, but like to get political, a lot of the people that are trying to like
are the ones that are
living these secret lives and have these other families and like
secret lives of other families, but also like
are
lesbian and gay
because they're so angry at themselves, right?
That's why the RNC
is like
blows up. The grinder blows up on the RNC. It crashes because all those Republicans are hooking up.
I'm dead, Ricky. I love you. He said, just saying.
Just saying.
I'm just saying.
I mean, listen.
So my mom raised me right with a woman my whole life until college. Then my mom gets divorced. They get divorced when I finally go to college, right? I'm out. I'm not out yet. I remember trying to come out at the table during high school and being like, I'm gay.
Yeah.
And I remember no one cared.
Yeah.
Like they were like,
and that's how it should
be. She's whatever.
They shouldn't care.
No one cared, right? And I was sitting there. I remember my sister looking at me and being like, they don't care, right? Like this is the house. Like,
you're like, mom is a lesbian.
Yeah, mom's a lesbian. They don't care. And I'm like, fuck, man, I want some like attention. So then,
so I'll go on TV.
Right. So I'm gonna go on TV and fuck you guys. I'm gonna go on TV and come out. I need someone to care. So then they get divorced. My mom becomes a reborn Christian. I'm a Christian, but like she becomes a reborn Christian. Yeah. My dad is going through cancer. All this shit is happening. She's married to a man that's like super Christian at this point. Mom, you know the story. And I come out to my mom with my first girlfriend, and she tells me that she cannot speak to me, will not support me.
Wait, your mom says that?
My mother. Ricky. Mind you, she was the Aunt Hesh growing up. We had Prop 8. You raised me for almost 15 years.
With a woman.
I come out and you tell me.
Yeah.
This is not.
To go back in the closet.
That she will not support this.
Yeah.
We've apologized. My mother's obviously apologized since and come to her senses. But like, you imagine for me, I'm like.
Listen.
Come again?
That's
come
for me.
Again?
Like, for me, Christianity is such a contradiction anyways. And so it's not a surprise to me.
Well, I've now found myself, I am a Christian today. I'm in a church, an affirming church. And so like our church is accepting of everyone. And like I always tell people, because I grew up in faith, I am of faith now. If Jesus were here, like he'd be hanging at the gay bars, honey. Yeah. Like he would be with everyone. His message was love everyone. Yeah. So we're using it and we're twisting it into religion to be against when it's entirely the opposite message of what he came to say.
Yeah.
Literally, it goes against everything that he came to say. So obviously we worked through it. My mom and I are fine. And I ended up coming out very much, right? Like I was like, I'm going to go real out.
Yeah.
Right. And did that. But my question then, and I love that you said this. So like when you started to come into your own as a man in your 30s, in your identity, becoming the Ricky Hodge we see today, right? This person, for anyone watching or any boys watching, right? Or girls watching that are like, I want to come out. I want to be able to own who I am the way that you have. What did that look like? And what is your advice to people struggling with that? That's a long time to be in the closet, Ricky.
Yeah, it is. So that fear never goes away because we're in a society, well, at least I am in Texas. So when I go to Lampasas or whenever I go to a small town, I always have to be on alert because I don't understand sometimes like what other people are thinking. And especially with our current situation and how, we have people that are in office that are very hateful. And so that's a projection to everybody else that is hateful, that's been literally closeted with hate, to come out and be vocal.
It's igniting it.
And so if I'm going to a small town to charge my car or to get gas or to stop and pick up.
Do you feel uncomfortable?
I feel guarded.
Okay.
not that I don't feel uncomfortable, but like if I, like I will think about what I'm wearing. Like I probably won't wear this
That's what I was going to say.
it.
Do you kind of
I
dress
kind
a
of,
little bit
yeah.
more
And,
masculine?
sometimes I can like project the masculinity when I want to.
You can.
But,
you can.
But at the end of the day, I am always a little bit guarded. But, I think part of what people are intimidated by is the confidence.
Yeah.
And
that's what I want to tune in on, is that like you went from not living in your truth to now as a man in your adult life living in your truth. How do you get that confidence, right? To be who you are.
I'm still insecure.
Okay.
I mean, that's always
what part of you is insecure?
I don't know it's really interesting to me, the platform that I have, because like I am not trying to do anything. Even I just spoke to this company, and she's just all like, we just love working with you because you're not like any of the other influencers. And I said, well, quite honestly, whenever I do these things, I don't write it down. I will record myself, and I will do a 20-minute video just for a minute and a half, and then I'll cut and edit everything. And I'll stop and I'll say, okay, I don't like the way that sounded. And everything is just natural. And that's how I am.
Same.
And the thing is, it's like, I just am who I am. There's always fear, but like, there's also confidence. Like this, I'm also like the kind of person that can walk into a room and command and demand attention without even trying. That's just who I am as a person.
So do you think that part of you, because I've shared this as well with you, right? Do you think, because for me, I could say this, do you feel that is just kind of like who you are? Yeah. It's not even something that can be trained or conditioned necessarily. It's just a part of like, this is your core.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Okay.
But I also think that you can speak a lot by your presence without having words. I think you can do that with the way you dress. I think you can do that with the way you look. I think you can do that with the way you present yourself. For instance, you can take a lady that is, I mean, you've seen it. We've all seen it, where you take a person off the street and then you give them food, and then you give them a haircut, and you give them the makeover. Yeah. And you go from like looking like a complete bum to someone that you're like, wouldn't even think that's a bum. Yeah. So a great example would be, because if you travel, you've been to the airports, you see people walking around with the Victoria's Secret sweatpants. Yeah. That's like literally 10 to 15 years old with words on the butt. And, you're walking around with a big old pillow, looking like you just woke up, thinking that looks cool. Well, quite honestly, that looks really stupid, because for me, I'm all like, back in the day, whenever I was growing up, like 40 plus years ago, it was a privilege to fly. Yeah. And I remember you had to dress up, right? We had to dress up. And I remember flying to Hawaii.
I love that you said this.
And so when I go to the airport, I never wear shorts. Yeah. I always wear jeans. I always am like ready to go, because listen, it's never helped me to get upgraded to first class. Yeah. But not yet. Not yet.
We will accept.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I just feel like, I want to look presentable, because I never know who I'm going to run into.
Okay, I need to jump on this. Yeah. So I started doing those videos of my looks, right? Like, and you do them as well. And so I had a bunch of people writing to me, because I've been in fashion my whole life. Yeah. I'm a makeup artist. So I was like, okay, people are writing. They're like, we want to see your looks too. I was like, okay, I'll do it, right? Yeah. A lot of people do it. A lot of people on Instagram. I said, I'll do them. So I started doing them. I got a client from it. Oh yeah. And I'll tell you why. And it's what you're saying. Yeah. It was a mother who saw me doing them and said, you get up, you put yourself together, you make time to put yourself together. Yeah. When I'm a mom, I have a job, I got to get up, I got a school drop off, but
you're an example.
And she said, I want that. Yeah. And I went, that's why this is good. Yeah. Because what I'm showing people is what you just said. This morning when I did school drop off, I had knee-high boots on, crop top, and a full jacket. It's 8 a.m. Yeah. Because if I start my day
like that,
my whole day, makeup done, style done. I'm going to put boots on when I leave here to go to a meeting. The way I feel after my workout and putting myself together
so much better
is night and day than rolling out like a bum.
It's true.
So you saying that, like owning, there's something about putting attention and love into just how you show up.
And it doesn't matter what you look like, what you struggle with, or anything like that, because looking good and feeling good will make the perception that you're in a good place.
Yes.
You know, we
even
all
to
have
yourself though.
Yes. I mean, it's
even
like
to yourself.
They say as soon as you get up, the first thing you should do is make your bed.
Yes.
Listen, the first thing I do
we said that. That's
is I go and make coffee.
Yeah.
I go on my Instagram. I do my post. And when I'm ready to start my day, the first thing I do is I do my bed. And then I clean my house. And then I wash my dishes.
It's how you show up. So for somebody like, and I appreciate you saying that you have some insecurities because that's real. That's
we
raw.
all have insecurities.
We all do. I think it's important, and you're an example to that. And I wanted us to speak on that even with my videos and to the moms that I'm sharing with. Those workouts, me getting dressed, I had a mom say, I feel uncomfortable going to the school dressed like this. I don't want all the parents to stare at me. Like,
who cares?
That's what I said. I said, honey, I'm gonna walk through that school. We don't dim our light.
No.
So that the school and the parents feel comfortable. We show our children that we woke up and we are owning who we are and we feel our best. If I want to wear stilettos today, Ricky, and I have nowhere to go,
wear it.
I'm wearing stilettos. If you see me in Trader Joe's and I am all done up, no, I have nowhere to go but that Trader Joe's.
Yeah, but they don't know if you were at work or whatever. At the end of the day, like, I just feel like I made this post not too long ago where it said, wear your nice things today. Don't save it for another day.
That's one of those moments I love when you say shit.
I'm telling you.
Wear your nice things today.
I will wear my Gucci shoes every day for
I love you.
a month. I don't care that I spent that much money on it.
Yeah.
I really don't, because I worked hard for that.
Yeah, and they make you feel good.
It makes me feel good.
Yes.
And so, like, I do. And so I just...
So
it doesn't matter.
This embodiment of you and this confident in your words and your message, Ricky, they really are inspiring. So just that alone of you saying, like, wear it today, look your best today. It inspires me as a friend. You inspired me to, like, remember that, like, I've worked in fashion. I've been in style. I get dressed. Yeah, I'm going to share it. I'm going to get dressed. Everyone should.
Listen, at the end of the day, you don't have to be, like, glamorous like this or anything, because sometimes I will look at a person and all they have on is like
t-shirt.
And t-shirt, jeans, and cool shoes. I'm all like,
well, there's a certain kind of t-shirt if you wear with just that you're like the whole.
I'm all like,
oh my God.
And listen, for the longest time, all I wore was blue jeans and t-shirts, like Levi's.
It can be done so
good,
so well.
Yeah, and quite honestly, that's a very sexy look. So just don't think you have to go
over the top,
do all this crazy shit. You don't. But I love dressing up.
But we're talking to a boy who grew up in Texas,
small
town, minority, right? Knew he was gay, was in this super small town. People are going by the same names, right? Didn't understand what that was. Spent 30 years hiding who he was, and is sitting here today with this very big, proud presence, inspiring other people.
Still insecure.
Inspiring other people. Let me do this real quick. Inspiring other people to step into their best self, to feel good. The videos, and I know even with me and your post, it's to inspire people. It's to make people have fun. It's not taken too serious. There's a message behind it. But when someone sees you, Ricky, I just want to keep being, like, loud with our voices and your voice. So thank you for opening up with me about your story, because some little boy out there is dealing with the same stuff that you dealt with. And when you see somebody living so openly proud, right?
Just know that I feel like, with that being said, I never got to a point where I thought about taking my life, or thought that, I needed to end it because of my family not accepting or whatever. Just know that is a page in the chapter that you're in. Yeah. And someday, the next day, the next week, the next month, that chapter changes, and then you're in a different space.
Yes.
We all have chapters, and growing up, there's a lot of fucking chapters. But
Ricky.
once you are gone,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you can bloom and you can become, I just had this conversation yesterday with my client, and it's so interesting because my client's partner is in rehab,
Mm-hmm.
and you would never think this person is in rehab. They have fucking everything.
Yep.
They have the best life. They travel the world. They have the best cars. They have houses in multiple places.
Mm-hmm.
And they are challenged with life. Everybody is. It doesn't matter how much money. It doesn't matter if you live in trailer park. They have one of the biggest houses I've ever been in.
Yep.
Amazing. But one thing that he said to me yesterday, because he's going to go visit her this weekend, is he said that, her favorite thing is a butterfly because of the transformation
I have that on me, yeah.
From ugly caterpillar, or even a pretty one, and transforming into this beautiful flying animal. And
that's life.
It's life. And that's a good, is that an analogy, or is that whatever it is?
Well, it is that you don't know what you're going to blossom into.
Yeah.
And I love that you said that. I want to just really, I'm writing my story right now. I'm writing my book right now, right? And I was just in a place where I was at the White House this last year. I showed up at the White House. I was there to see, our vice president speak. I was there with descendants of some of the biggest civil rights people.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how I got there.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, I'm dressed up, and I'm thinking, I remember being this little Mexican girl on food stamps in Anaheim, California, with my dad in and out of prison, feeling like there was no way one day I'd be sitting here dressed up where I am. But here's the thing that I was writing about. It doesn't matter your story or where you go. You don't know the next chapter, and you're not who you tell yourself you are. You don't know who you're going to become. And when you believe, I deserve to be here.
Yeah.
When that mind shift changes, and I'm not that little girl that says, I don't deserve this, and I can't have this, and I was raised this way. When you step into I deserve this. I deserve this as much as anyone else.
And positivity.
That's what I'm saying. This is my life. You don't know what life is going to offer you. You don't know where it's going to go. And I appreciate you saying that in terms of, hang on, in terms of anybody that is struggling or wants to take their life or feels like it's that bad, that chapter is going to end.
Yeah. Maybe tomorrow, maybe right now after this video, who knows? But you have to, one of the things that I definitely want to say, here's some coffee. One of the things that I definitely want to say is also, and this is very important, is to surround yourself with positive foundation, meaning that I surround myself with people that I strive to be like, with people that are wealthier than me, with people that have a clear direction that I can follow, someone I can look up to.
Yep.
Okay, so when I became a hairstylist, I was waiting tables prior to that. I owned a little motel also, but I was still waiting tables. And I remember my partner at the time, I had told him, I said, well, I'm going to enroll in cosmetology school, but I'm not going to hang out with any of my friends from the restaurants. And he just thought that was so rude. And I said, let me tell you something. I said, at the end of the day, I loved working in restaurants. I just loved it so much. I loved working in retail.
I did too.
And everyone should do it because people can be assholes and you need to experience that kind of shit. But with that said, I said to him, I said, I cannot, if I knew that at 36, 37, 35, however old I was, whenever I was going to cosmetology school, that was my last opportunity to make a good career for myself. And so what I did not want to do is go out all night long. So in the restaurant business, you get off at 11 o'clock.
You party all night.
Till 3 o'clock.
Yes.
And then I have to get up to go to school, And so I just said, I'm not letting them go as friends. I'm just not able to hang out with them. And until I was able to get in the position of where I was wanting to be in my career, which took years, by the way, because after you graduate cosmetology school,
it's a whole.
You make $250 a week assisting. fucking sucked.
Yeah.
And so that is a struggle, and that's a chapter in a page, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to go through those pages, and those pages seemed really, really long. It was like a fucking novel. But at the end of the day, I was able to get to the place I'm in now just because of the focus,
Yeah.
but also because I surrounded myself with positive people that were like on the same journey as me, people that I was like striving to be, you know? And so that's what I see myself as now, that people are striving to be like me. So I try to live the best life that I can, you know? I struggle just like everybody else. I'm not wealthy, you know, like we talked about this last time about success. Success is not
different.
It's different for everybody.
But
and
you feel successful.
I feel successful.
Because you are successful.
Yeah.
There's a
and
difference.
It's
Same
not monetary.
with me.
Yeah.
I'm not some low, you know, but I feel very wealthy in the chapters of my book and that I know are coming and that I've lived.
Yes.
I feel when I look at the story of my life, I'm like,
yeah,
that's lived.
Yeah.
You fucking lived, girl. And you're still going to live. But I think the message here as we come to an end, Ricky, and I love you for these conversations. Ricky and I are going to be talking more and opening up more. So please let us know things as well that you guys would like us to share and touch base on. But I would like to say this, like, who you surround yourself with is huge.
It's huge.
Huge. You are what you eat, what you speak, what you read, who you're around.
Birds of a feather.
Yeah, that is what you become. You are what you put yourself around. I want to be around Ricky. That's why I'm spending more time with Ricky, because it's the energy I know I need and want to keep moving in that direction. I don't need people that aren't motivated, inspired, you know, positive. I don't need that, right? So that is huge. And then for any of you guys struggling right now with your identity or with your sexuality, with anything, this is a page in your book. And you don't know what that next chapter holds. So don't give up.
Yeah. There's plenty of chapters.
Plenty.
But this is just a page.
That's
and it's a day. You know, like I know I had a friend that I had to distance myself from, and I have to love him from afar, but he struggled with anxiety, depression, and all of this other stuff. And I was really there to help him. And this is the first time I had ever been so consumed with trying to help somebody. And I realized that I could not be in that realm with him, because he was like telling me all these negative things about like how he was kill himself and do all this stuff. And I just said, you know, I was calling the police and I was calling his mom and I was doing all this stuff. And then one day he was all like, he said to me, "No homo." And I thought to myself, how dare he think that I was there to take advantage of him or because I liked him in a sexual manner. It was so upsetting and degrading to me. I was just all like, you know what? I'm taking offense to this. I stood up for myself and I said, peace out.
Boundaries.
And I had to love him from afar. And then like a year later, he calls me at 5:30 in the morning and I was like, why is he calling me? So I texted his mom. Well, I texted my friend and he said, what does your heart say? What does your gut feel?
Yeah.
And I said, not to call him. He said, okay, then don't.
Then don't.
And so I contacted his mother, texted her, and I said, by the way, your son texted me and I just hope that everything is okay, because it's 5:30 in the morning and his, you know, his pages before were like he'd stay up all night and he was fighting the demons and all this other stuff. So the first thing I thought, because that's how I left him,
was it was going to be
negative.
Yeah.
And she responded with, you know, he's about to go, he's got a big interview today. Maybe he was calling you for direction, da da da. Listen, I hope that was the case, but I didn't reach out. And I just said, you know, my life was happy. This was like before my platform was
as big as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is at the beginning of growing.
Yeah.
So this was like maybe 30 or 40,000. I'm at 450,000 now. And so 455 now.
Yeah, make sure don't miss one.
It just went up a couple. Yeah.
And it's moving up right now.
Yeah, slowly. But I remember telling myself, you know, and with that said, like if I saw him in public, I would go up to him and be like, dude, nice to see you.
Yes.
You know, because at the end of the day, his pages are very long. You know, we sent him to rehab. He came out, he looked so great, and then back in it. And the reason he was back in it is because we kind of asked him to do it and he wasn't ready to do it. And until you're ready to do it,
And
those are the struggles.
And that's the thing too, is everyone is writing their book right now, their story. Everyone's living it. Everyone has their pages, right? We all get to create boundaries to protect ourselves. We get to choose who we surround ourselves with, but there is a space, and I think you and I do put this out there. You still got to just send love, like positive vibes. I wish you the best, whether it's a boundary or no boundary. You're on your journey to write your book. It's not over for you, but I get to create my space for me.
As you grow, you should be making a lot of boundaries.
Yep.
For me, I make a lot of boundaries.
Same.
Like I had a couple of friends with partners that have been very, very rude to me for no reason.
Yeah.
I have no reason why.
Oh, we're keeping
and I was just all like, all right, you know what? I'm going to pull back.
Yeah.
And because at the end of the day, I don't want to get in the middle of that. I have way too much shit going on. And at the end of the day, they lay their heads on the bed together and I can't, I'm not the third person in that relationship.
It's really funny the more we talk and get to know each other, because there's that similar, I don't know what the part is about us, but like I pull myself back all the time because something about me sometimes will like cause people to just not like me. I don't know what it is. Jenny and I try and figure it out because I'm like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. I don't know what I did to them.
They're intimidated.
To not like me. I literally did nothing.
Yeah.
And they just don't like me.
And that's okay.
But then I'm just kind of like finally in my zone. And it took me a very long time. I'll be 43 next month, where I am such a loner. Because I had to really get comfortable being like, if you don't like me, fine, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm okay on my own. Like I'm living my best life. I'm happy. I'm focused. And you may see people like, again, like Ricky and I, who put ourselves out there and it seems a certain way, but like sticking to yourself, knowing your people, protecting your space and creating those boundaries. And if people don't like you.
But also with that said, something about being alone to understand who you are is
crucial
for you to share your life with somebody else. You have to know, you have to be comfortable.
Know who you are.
You have to be comfortable with yourself. And once you're comfortable with yourself, then you can allow that to be for everybody else that you can share. You know,
I feel that deeply right now. And it took me a really long time to be able to even get to a space where I can proudly say, I know what it's like to be alone and I'm okay with it, because it took me a very long time of massive codependency to get to that space. And you cannot share yourself with somebody or love somebody else if you don't know how to love yourself.
I mean, quite honestly, if I had to think like a woman that was married and for a long time and then divorced with kids, and the kids and then she finds herself working because she's never worked before. Now she has to find herself working. You know,
I've been there.
It's a challenging moment where all of a sudden you find yourself in this space of like having to re-identify yourself, and then to support your family with the shitty child support that you get, and if you get it, and then when you need more money because your daughter is in gymnastics, and the father
you're speaking,
and the father says, well, I pay you child support that's like $500 or whatever, and you're like, for what? Like that doesn't cover like a week of groceries. And then you're like, you know, you're challenged with that, and then all of a sudden all the kids are gone and you find yourself in a space by yourself.
Who are you?
And now you have to re-identify who you are.
This is what
because your identity was so much about your kids.
And that's where right now, and the women I work with, is that let's not lose ourselves where we wake up one day when they're all gone and try to figure out ourselves.
So find it now.
Find it now. That's why I dress up and drop her off and look the way that I look and take the time for me, because I'm not waiting till my daughter's 18 to figure out who the fuck I am.
Yeah, but your daughter is now also looking at
watching me, know that I know it's important.
You know, one of my best friends, she's 85 years old, and she cannot see, she cannot walk, she cannot go anywhere. So I go visit her, and she's very wealthy, and I go there, and all we do is in her bedroom watch
Harold and Maude,
Gunsmoke. And I hate anything black and white, and I don't like Gunsmoke, but I'm not there for that. I'm there to spend time with her. Now, mind you, this person and I would travel to Hawaii. We've been to Paris. We travel all over the United States. She's just at the point in her life that she's not mobile.
Yeah.
And so I spend a lot of time with her when I can. And she's a dear friend of mine. And she goes through challenges, right? Like her daughter tried to put her in a nursing home. And so she called me about it. And I said, now, my friend is sharp as a tack. And I was so offended that her daughter tried to do that. And I said to her, I said, I don't want to say her name, but I said,
so-and-so.
know that she is your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of how you feel about her, she is your only living name. And you must leave her something, and then whatever it is, but you have to leave her something. And I said, and take the rest, spend it, and then whatever you don't spend, donate it to like Volunteers of America or whatever, you know? And I said, because at the end of the day, when you are gone, nothing matters.
I'm going to end this because we need to. And on that note, I'm going to say, you come into this world alone.
You leave alone.
You leave alone.
Yeah, it's true.
Thank you, Ricky.
Yeah.
Thank you, honey. Thank you, guys.